Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Get a Fucking Life Babe podcast. I am your host, Lydia Killian, and today we have a very special guest. We have Sammy from Sammy and I Therapy. Sammy specializes in helping women with their anxious attachment style and especially leading you into the identity of the version you would be if you already had the life you want, helping you glow up into that future identity so it manifests as a byproduct. And I'm so excited for this chat. Sammy, how are you?
Hello, Lydia. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited because I feel like we've maybe been following each other for a little while now and we talk the same language. So this is just going to be fun. Girl chat.
I'm so excited for today. I was listening to your podcast probably about a month ago and I was binging, I'd missed a few, so I was binging a few episodes. And I know you particularly talking about how you used to feel like other people were better than you and your self-worth was like right down here. And I just resonated with every single thing you said. It was like somebody was relaying my own story to me. And I was like, I need this girl on the podcast.
I love that. That's why most people come in. I feel like the business has become what it is through me just talking about my story and just being a bit unfiltered with it and putting yourself out there. But it's the truth of how majority of people, I feel, especially women, can feel.
Definitely. I mean, I know I struggled with that a lot all throughout my life. Even now, like it still rears its head because, as you know, we don't always put these to bed, not all of the thoughts. Sometimes we still have to continuously work on them. And I know for me, that pedestal in others was such a huge one for me. So I was listening to it like this girl is speaking my language. She's transformed her own life. Like I need her on the podcast so we can share it with others. So I'd love for you to tell us all how you got into this and kind of like the start of your journey and how you've transformed your life now.
Yeah. Okay, everybody, get a cup of tea. So, oh my gosh, so I'm 34 now, and I came across I know you would have heard this, the book called The Secret when I was 15.
Same,
Yeah,
I was 15 as well.
mad. So long
No.
ago as well. It was like through no, I wasn't seeking it out or anything, and basically somebody just messaged me saying you need to get this. Anyway, so I started to look into this whole like law of attraction, raise your vibration and everything, but I couldn't understand it at all. I didn't know how on earth do I raise my vibration and how does that change my life? So prior to that, I was in a usual kind of muddled childhood. Father left when I was like just a couple of years older. So I had a lot of abandonment wounds, rejection things, and what have you. At that point, didn't realize I then had what we know as the anxious attachment style. Had then at this, like at 17 years old, met my still now fiance, Andy. I don't know how this happened. It's one of those like weird universal things, I think, because you would think through who I was at that time, I would have repelled him. Anyway, so I go through years from being 14 up until my early 20s with eating disorders. I had internalized not good enough for others. People always left me. I needed to look a certain way. If I was skinny enough, if I was pretty enough, I'd get more attention. And so that's what I then set out to do. And obviously, then, lose control of your body and everything. So I managed to stop that, especially the binge eating, because I found a book called The Brain Over Binge in my early 20s. And this book is the first time I heard about neural pathways and rewiring your mind, and that everything is actually a habit. And I thought, wow, fucking hell, this isn't because I'm insane. It's not because there's anything massively wrong with me. It's because my body's built up this habit of coping mechanisms, and it's now normal. It's familiar. It's what we do. So I built out this plan for myself and I wrote out this huge calendar on the wall. And I was like, I'm going to tick off every day for
As
66
well.
days. Did you do it?
I did that years ago. I did the whole big,
Yeah.
big, I don't know if it's A1, what's the biggest size, piece of paper. And I wrote
Yeah.
out my new beliefs. This is what I'm going to do. And like, I did that hole on the wall thing as well. Amazing.
Yeah. Because you can see it. I'm such a visual
Yeah,
learner.
I'm a visual
I
person.
need the repetition, otherwise I'll forget it. So I did that early 20s, some kind of time. I can't really remember. And I was like, wow. And I never binge ate again. And I'd been doing that for years at this point. So I came across, I then trained in 2016 as a life coach with Beautiful You Coaching Academy because I was desperate to help women understand that.
Mhm.
But I still was that old version of me. I was deeply insecure because I got rejected so much as a child and teenager. And when I was in school, I got rejected. I had a close group of girlfriends for years, and then all of a sudden it was like, oh, we don't like you anymore, like, and so I then had those friendship wounds of like, women don't like me, girls don't like me. Like, I think most women have this. And so putting myself out there, if you look back at my videos then, I just used Instagram at that point. I was so afraid of anybody hearing me, seeing me, paying me. Like I would do pretty much everything for free. And that went on for a couple of years until I heard of Marissa Peer, 2018. Had barely like had jobs, me and my fiance, that were kind of just like getting us by. We were on the ladder in a flat trying to get into like this house that we're in now. And so I had to loan the money off my dad because it's thousands. And I was like, I have got to train with this woman and I need to do it in person in one of the London events because I don't even care if this doesn't become a business model. I am so unhappy in myself, the way I feel about myself, how self-conscious I am in a room full of people. Like I could put on a mask, but I thought everyone hated me. I thought there was something really wrong with me. People just left. There was something with me that wasn't friendly. I don't know. There was something obviously that made people reject me. So I thought, "Ugh, I just can't cope with this anymore." So I trained with her, and I've always, like known that I always wanted to do something. I've always had a big vision from teenage years that I would help women on a big platform in some way. I've always known that. So when I took on the coaching, although I know that I was good at it, I just couldn't put myself out there with it. So then when I went and did this training, and it's really intense, and you're watched by her top trainers, and you do it in front of lots of people. I absolutely fucking smashed it. And I passed, like it was quite unknown that there was a small group of us that passed like straight away. Usually there's like repetitive, you have to keep going back and stuff like that. And one of her main coach going, or trainer saying, what is it that you do? And it was just because I have this natural ability to uncover what people's root cause things are. And that's like if you had a one-to-one therapy session with me, that's what we do. Like we start off with the root cause, we get into the root cause of whatever it is,
Yeah.
and we go through the scenes, but it's very intuitive. So we don't, it's not a script I'm following. So from there, it gave me confidence. I was like, I'm good at this. I am good at this. And there's a bit that I've just missed actually that made me enroll with Marissa Peer was because I heard about her, signed up with someone that was just practicing. So she was really, really low cost, but I did it to get my periods back. All the eating disorders have basically
Yeah.
stopped that. 2 years of no periods, after 2 weeks, I got them back. And I was like, two
Just from
weeks
hypnotherapy sessions.
from hypnotherapy.
Wow.
And after one session with a woman that wasn't even very confident, and all I did was because Marissa's model is just then you just have like an evening hypnosis that you listen to. So all I did was have that one session and then listen to a hypnosis track. And I wasn't even massively convinced because the lady was, bless her, quite shy. 2 weeks and it came back. I was like, this is absolutely unbelievable. So that sold me because I thought if your body is listening to what you're saying, and responding to what your mind is now believing, then surely this is how the rest of your life works if you can embody that identity of who you want to be.
I think that just
Yeah.
speaks to so many women as well that might be going through the same thing, that anyone listening, I just think that's going to give them so much hope because I know that probably feels like a real dead end situation when your
Yeah,
period stopped and you feel out of control of your body. So
you
then
do.
to change it within 2 weeks is just crazy.
Absolutely mental.
Uh,
And it mine kind of like slowed down a bit that but then came back, but it's because I didn't really understand it and didn't really stick with it. But if you stick with it, but yeah, so unreal, especially for women that have fertility issues and things like that, because that's what we were then going to try for our first. That's what it was about. So yeah, so that convinced me to sign up, and I was like, whatever, I'll pay whatever. Um, and then essentially the next year we moved into this house, 2019, had a first child miscarried, and then I had another session that I paid a full whack for, got pregnant again within 3 months. And that was our first daughter, Amelia. But what that then did, which is obviously always a blessing in disguise, was the in the lockdown with a newborn and the wildness of a new baby that she was, and I mean she still is now. She's crazy. I've got two polar opposite babies, and she didn't sleep. She cried all the time, and my I believe 100% I manifest my whole life by who I am and what I expect of others and how I expect life to play for me. So then situations happened in close proximity in our external family that was people showing me they had no respect for me, even as this real struggling new mum in a lockdown where I thought if someone touches my child, she'll die. They showed me that they didn't care for my what desires for my child, and it was just turned into a awful fallout where like my fiance stopped like speaking to his mum for like a whole year, and our relationship then got quite difficult on thin ice. My anxious attachment was like, he doesn't care. All of these crazy stories I was making up in my head, it just blew up like tenfold at this point in my life. So then obviously I start pushing him away. I was desperate to like not go back to my old job in the police. I was on maternity leave. I wanted to give my business a good go. And I thought, I signed up for this coaching course, which was pretty much just strategy stuff. I didn't realize, I thought it was more about energetic embodiment things. It was just strategy. And actually, I made less money than I've ever made before. And I was like, if this is not the biggest sign for me right now, that it is me in this business, it's me in this relationship that makes them what they are, then I don't know what is.
Definitely.
So that then I would say when was that 2021, I took about a year to figure out, I learned about self-concept things and I figured out my own kind of formula basically. And from there, that's where, yeah, everything's kind of like propelled from there.
Because you really transformed your relationship and business, didn't you?
Yeah.
I'd say you did it relatively fast
I hope I
in the
feel
grand
like
scheme of things.
yeah, yeah. I think it's because I'm so obsessive that, and I fully hibernated, like I couldn't do go cold or no contact or other, which would be so much easier. So I literally would put my kid to bed and I'd just go to my bedroom. I wouldn't spend any time with him. I was like, I cannot face right now. I'm so triggered and going back into the old stories and beliefs about him. I need to just be on my own. So I pretty much just like, and he's kind of like, he's naturally got an avoidant attachment, Mr. Lone Wolf, so he didn't even question it. So I would just like go to bed and sit with like my own meditations, not meditations. I like to call them activations because meditation is not really my thing. Or like just scripting. I love
I
scripting.
love them.
It's so much fun. You can do it all day long if you really wanted to. Um, so I feel like that's how, because I just chose who is this version of me in my best life, which
Yeah,
means all areas. And I was like, well, she's fucking confident. She's a bit of a badass. She's like, she knows who she is. She knows her worth. She's got strong boundaries. This is the way she walks, the way she talks, all of that kind of stuff. And then it's made me feel safe to be on my own,
yeah,
safe to not be with that man, like safe to be seen on my business.
yeah.
All those
And then
things.
ironically, that brings everything to you.
Yeah.
It's like that catch 22, like the less you need it. I always say it's like Nanny McPhee. Like she's just gonna show up when you don't need her or whatever. I can't remember what it's called, but like you just attract everything to you from that space. And I feel like with law of assumption, with manifestation, It's what many of us struggle to, and myself included at times. We just can't, like, I hate the word let go, because I don't think you have to let go of anything. Like you said, you're obsessive, I'm obsessive. If I want something, I'm having it. I'm not letting it go in those terms, but you do have to let go of the need for it. I think that's what the true term of letting go means, and you have to be absolutely okay within yourself. And I feel
Mhm.
like you nailed that.
Yeah, I have always loved this woman, this coach called Amanda Francis. She's like the queen of money. Love her. I've got all her courses, right? And she really helped me to embody like the trust of the fact the universe is obviously going to deliver to me what I want. Whatever I do is enough. So I feel like she helped with that kind of the feminine magnetism that you talk about.
Yeah, because I
Of
think you nailed that.
Thank you. Of kind of like believing, I'm not a perfectionist. My videos aren't perfect. My sales, all that kind of stuff, I've done it all myself. It doesn't look like the picturesque kind of thing, but I've learned over the years, and it's a natural belief for me now. I just get to receive. That's the thing I want, and whatever I believe is the way to it will be, however it looks.
Yeah, because I think with the law of, I've mentioned this just before we hit record, like with the law of assumption community, it can be very rigid, I think. Like you have to affirm robotically, or you have to do sats, or you have to, whatever other method it might be. And I think also as well with the accountability factor of it, like I know you said, I am the one that's creating this, I'm creating these circumstances. Sometimes I personally think people can't hold the two beliefs at the same time of the universe is going to bring me whatever I want, and
Mhm.
also I create everything. I think they struggle with, well, they're over there treating me like shit, they're a bad person, it's their fault. Or if we do take rapid accountability, it's almost like I have to make everything happen, and it's like instead of leaning on the universe a little bit or leaning on the subconscious mind, you kind of go, oh no, I need to control this, and I need to think perfectly 24/7 and all those kind of things. And I know you talk about time frames and the intrusive thoughts, and you say, there are going to be intrusive thoughts, and there are
Mhm.
going to be there is going to be a time delay. And I think that's a beautiful thing as well to include in today's chat.
Yeah, 100%. I would say, do you know what, for me, really what I trained in was just for myself. And it's helped me have this scientific understanding of, like I said at the start, I didn't understand the law of attraction.
Yeah.
What I do understand is my subconscious mind, whatever I've got wired in there, I'm going to get that filtered to me. So if I expect my fiance to be a dick, which I still do, he will be, and we'll have a massive argument. And I will go and I'll be like, I'll have my moment where I'm like, packing my bags, I'm leaving, like, and all of this lot. And then when I have, I never tell anyone not to do that, by the way, because you're you're not allowing yourself to internalize how you feel in that moment. What I wouldn't do is talk to my mum, talk to my besties. I wouldn't rage about that story. Like I do not get involved in, especially like as a mum, I'm not in them conversations where they're talking about the husbands and how they're just big babies and stuff.
Yeah.
So I then will reflect on the situation, and how I see it is this is our power. It's our power to look at that individual, how he's just behaved, what is he showing that's a part of me I'm still holding on to here. Or because the first bit of work we always do in my like membership and courses is about the self-worth. After that, the next level is what am I just expecting of him? Because if I've got a big history with him or with other relationships where I expect men to be sat on the toilet for hours on the phone as soon as they come in and giving me no acknowledgement, I'm going to get it. When we have an anxious attachment and we've not sorted that out, first of all, we're watching them hyper vigilantly. You don't love me, you don't want me, you're rejecting me, and attaching these insane meanings to their actions. So it's it's moving that back. It's like transmuting it into this is actually power. I don't need to go out there and say to him, you must be this way. But internally, when I feel like I'm ready for it and I feel like I want to think better about him, I will. in a more, now this is, how do I explain it? It's not obsessive about him. It's very much like, this is what I deserve, and so I expect that of him. I have those positive expectations. It's more like that than the previous version of me that would cry and cry and cry and feel worthless and like, what's wrong with me, you know?
How do you train your mind to feel that expectation rather than just the wishful thinking of I hope this works, I hope he changes? So I know that's what a lot of people struggle with.
I would say I do so much self-talk. I do a lot of self-talk, perhaps even before that, is because of the amount of work I've put into believing what I deserve,
Yeah.
believing how worthy I am. And I think like that universal law of oneness, if there's another person on this planet who's got an outrageous relationship, I deserve that as well. I now know I'm no different to her. So that helps me, having done that foundational therapy work, I did it a lot, to when I'm ready to get back on game, know that I'm one in a million and I will literally leave. I would also say, adding in there, feminine and masculine dynamics in the relationships, like we bounce off each other. Men want to be men. He
Yeah.
wants to feel like the hero. He wants to be carrying all my bags. He just needs, I give a lot of verbal appreciation for the things I want. Like it's smart. We get the men to fully take care of us because that's actually what how they feel fulfilled. And then you just tell them, "Oh, I love that. I love it when you do this." And then you get 10 times more of it. So I don't need to chase after him because that's not what I'm biologically driven to do anyway.
But when you have an anxious attachment style, that's what
You
you
do.
feel so propelled to do. It's like, because I'm like, I say recovering anxious attachment style, because I do feel like if it's deeply embedded in you, you are constantly working on it and it kind of goes away. But then things will trigger you later on down the line and you have to work on them. Even with business stuff, it's not just relationship stuff. Like you'll think, oh, that person's got an opportunity. Like I wanted that, or why have they got more followers than me? And it can just rear its head in the most subtle ways. And I know from a personal experience, it makes you a crazy bitch and it makes you just leap after that thing rather than sitting back and just saying, no, the things I want are going to come to me and I deserve this. What would you think is the beginning stages for somebody recovering that anxious attachment style?
You want to get to a position where you're so fed up with yourself that you are willing to do anything, because a big part of this is releasing that external chasing after somebody to be a different way. So I wouldn't want anyone to go into this work because they're desperate for their husband or man to change. This has to be about them.
Yeah.
So I absolutely do live and breathe by the therapy model that I've been trained in as a first step to then like the whole like self-concept hypnosis stuff, because she needs to know where it came from so that she can attach a different story to it, a different meaning to it. And what we're doing is we're releasing the emotional impact it has on your body out of your system. I remember when I was first having the sessions, I'd cry and cry and cry. Now it doesn't mean anything to me. It's not me. It's like I've done enough work that I've released it. I've looked at it differently. I've shifted the story enough now that I know it's irrelevant to who I am now. So it's a deep desire to love yourself, accept yourself, and live an incredible life, whether that man stays or not.
I love that. And I know you talk a lot about exposure therapy.
Mhm.
And I think a lot of people give up because I am generalizing, obviously, but a lot of people do give up because it's fucking hard. Like this work is hard. It's not, oh, I'm gonna script and it's all sunshine and rainbows. Like our intrusive thoughts come to the surface, or we have to lay down each brick every single day. And like I said, sometimes we don't see the movement straight away. So tell me a little bit more about your thoughts on exposure therapy, and especially when it comes to putting in boundaries with other people as well.
Right. So once you've done those first couple of steps, we now need to do a bit of movement in life. why we're doing exposure therapies to teach your nervous system this is safe. I'm not going to die. If I get rejected here, I'm still going to be alive. So as you learn, you create that avatar, you're embodying her using whatever tools work the best for you. Then when it comes to an actual day-to-day life situation where somebody's disrespected you, you want to think, how does she respond here? You do it, and we're all scared shitless because we still have that like the anxiousness they might leave me. And then whatever their response is, you're repetitively, as you keep doing it, you're teaching your system this is safe for us to do it. You're normalizing it, familiarizing it, and then it gets easier. It is a bit of that. It really is like facing the fear. But every time you face that fear, you're stepping in that circumstance that's happened so many times, but now as a different you.
Yeah.
So the end result will be different. We're not going to continue that old loop again.
Yeah,
So we
'cause
change.
sorry,
Sorry.
I think with manifestation, we can tend to just let people walk all over us because we're manifesting different outcomes, whether it's business, relationships, whatever. And I love your take on the exposure therapy because you're like, no, like I'm putting my foot down and I'm going to show you what I'm worth, and everything
Mhm.
has to correlate to that.
Absolutely. I feel like there is a huge element too, especially if we're looking in the terms of people who you reflect, what is it? People who you pushed out, that one.
Yeah.
Um, if I show my fiance, Andy, I have no respect for myself and I let him chat shit at me or whatever it is that's occurred, he then is going to reflect that back to me. I'm not showing physically that I have any respect, so he can't mirror that back. For me personally, I really do believe, and you actually do hear it a lot. There's a lot of coaches out there about women in relationships. Men don't listen to words. They don't listen to the gassing and all the, we all do it, and I still do it. And I'm like, "You idiot, like you knew that." They respond very well to clear cut no presence. Like, I'm not going to be, obviously, I still live in the house, so we can all do this. I'm not going to be around you. I'm not giving you my energy. You can ask me as many times as you want how I am. I'm not, because we have to show I matter to that individual, but you're also showing it to yourself. And again,
Oh,
that's like you're telling your subconscious, but you're telling the universe, this is what I accept now.
definitely. I mean, I had a clear cut example of this probably about 4 years ago. And I've got a lot of lad friends, so they're really great as like I can get their advice on things. And because women and men, I don't care what anybody says, they think so differently.
Hmm.
There's a book called The Queen's Code by Alison Armstrong, and it's an amazing book. Tony Robbins recommends it, and it just teaches you how women and men think differently. And I was in the pub and I was about to send a paragraph, and I said to my friend, like, shall I send it? He was like, we don't read that. He was like, don't send it. And I was like, and he was like, Lydia, I promise you, he's going to respond far more to your silence than that paragraph.
Yeah.
Like, right, okay, lesson learned. Okay, understood.
Yeah, we're emotion based, they're logic based.
Yeah.
So it's almost like areas of their brain shut off or something. And it also, if we're going back to the whole like anxious thing, if we're going on at them, which is what I used to do all of the time, you're just showing yourself how anxious you are and how much you need them and how desperate you are for them to change. Whereas if you show with silence how much you mean to yourself, they can then show you whether they're for you or not. I wouldn't ever want someone. I do worry a little that there is in the law of assumption world with manifesting SP, this obsession over having a
So much
exact
distraction.
man. Yeah, that like you could be blocking yourself from someone outstanding. It
Yeah,
doesn't have to be him. I'd rather people came into this work to just get their best ever relationship, whether he stays or goes.
definitely. And I think people take it. This is something I speak to. Like we both have memberships, and in my membership, I actively discourage people from manifesting SPs, not because you can't do it, just because I've seen them get so obsessive over it to the point where they take everyone as you pushed out so literally. They think that I always say, like, you're not Harry Potter, you're not waving a magic wand over them and expelliarmusing them into, a build a bear version of themselves. Like the I feel like it puts a lot of obsession over another person. And if they just obsessed over themselves, they'd get that version probably, and then another version. And, so many different people like just step into the plate because of their intrinsic self-value and self-worth. And I feel like the manifesting SP situation kind of pushes that away from people, and it makes them obsess over somebody else's actions. And
Yeah,
then I do find they play peekaboo with their self-concept. It's like, I'm gonna decide my worth, but if they're not texting me back, then I feel like shit.
exactly.
Yeah,
So they're still looking external for the validation of that.
definitely. Yeah,
That you're right. It's a really big problem. And there was something I was going to say there, Sheila. It'll come back to me in a minute. But I just genuinely feel like there's that this work really is about you falling so in love with who you are that you aren't ready to settle for any type of man, or your business not working out. Like it impacts the both of them. And this information has now come back to me. So if you're currently with someone, you've attracted him as an old version of yourself. So that doesn't always mean he can step up to match up with who you're becoming. And that's not because he's beneath you or he's not worthy or whatever. It's just because we're not meant for everyone. So it could have, with my personal example, me and Andy could have parted ways. And I mean, you still can, you never know how life will go. Um, because of the fact that I attracted him when I was 17 years old. So he would be a response to what I expected at a point, how I believed about myself. We have this unconscious ability to attract to us in our partners what we see as familiar from parental roles and that kind of thing. So, I know a lot of women do talk about narcissistic men and things. I think that word is used way too much without people having an understanding of it.
yeah,
Definitely. It's like a mental psychotic disorder. And so maybe he's emotionally unavailable, he's acting like a bit of a dick. But that is could be a response to who you were back then. So if you do your glow up and you become who you want to be, so you feel good with or without him, you'll see whether he's for you or whether there's like someone out there that's 10 times better.
yeah, I totally agree. And I think it's when you lean into the trust, like we were talking about with Amanda Francis, like, because I think she embodies it so much. And what I love about Amanda Francis is she does a lot of the work you kind of do, which is like the practice and the feeling of it. And
Mm.
really that full embodiment like you were talking about. And I feel like when you lean into that trust with the universe, you allow better things to show up, whether that's their behavior or business opportunities. And it's just like, I remember I had a feminine energy coach years ago, but she was a client, and we used to kind of like, I was helping her with business, she was helping me with my feminine energy. And she used to say it was like lying on a lilo in a swimming pool and just trusting the universe was fully supporting you. Like the universe is the water, and you're just lying back and you're just like floating and just
Mhm.
fully trusting you're being supported. How do you lean into that every single day?
I would say, do you know what? What's built that up for me would be like an exposure therapy thing again, learning to build up firstly my self-worth. Because initially, I've said about in podcasts before, I had like an EFT session around money in that coaching course I did years ago, and I bawled my eyes out at the thought of my fiance buying me a coffee. I felt so unable to just receive in every way to be taken care of financially and by the man. So, first of all, as always, it's that self-worth and knowing what one has you also deserve. And I did. Now, not everybody does this, but with my business, I was kind of at a position of we either go all in or we just don't right now because my money's running out and I'll have to go back to work. So I stepped into using exposure therapy in buying made things that made me feel more expansive and luxurious, not too much when I didn't really have the money. And then seeing as I laid back and was building the belief that the universe is going to supply it back to me as I step into more expansion, it's going to have to be filled. I would then naturally see that happen. So now that's quite an easy belief for me to know that I will always be provided for. So stepping into my feminine on a daily basis, well, my life is kind of like, I mean, I'm not like at a stage right now. I'm in a season. I've got my 10-month-old baby Poppy, and she's with me full time, other than when I have my like clients or meetings like with you. I just pop her off to my mum's. But we had our first Amelia, I had her till she was 2. So we wanted to do the same thing. I just don't feel right personally putting her in nursery. So, oh, and preface, not that's not judgment, it's because we've got family here that can have her. So I don't want anyone to feel that. So I have to, I have to embody this on a daily basis because I cannot physically work more than 2 or 3 hours a day. I can get a couple of TikTok videos done in my car when she's napping on the way back from preschool drop. She'll be napping, she's at my mum's now, but she will nap in the afternoon and I've got like 2 hours then. But because it's so intensive emotionally with like my toddler more or my preschooler more, by the time I go to bed, I'm done. So I can't sit up all night, and they might come in my bed in the night, or the little one might wake up if she's not well. So I can't guarantee an 8 hour solid. Do you know, my energy levels aren't on peak. So I have to every day practice what I'm doing is more than enough, and it will bring to me what I want if I repetitively, subconsciously embody her now and the way she speaks and the way she feels, my audacity, my knowing, that confidence. So then when I'm with my children, which is obviously most of the day, I'm invoking that feeling of like, I can do this and still be taken care of. And
Yeah.
I know, and I have very strong dialogues now about my fiance that he wants to do everything for me. He wants to bend over backwards for me. So when I see him do just small things, I'm like, that's it. That's the man. He's doing it all. He wants me to be happy, relaxed, and receive. So it's like I practice it every day by that, really.
So I love that you just said that because I know I've seen a lot of teachers, especially when it comes to scripting, which we both said that we love. They're like, yeah, just do it once and let it go. Do it once a month. And I'm like, your mind needs the repetition.
Yeah, it does.
And it's not about being obsessive with it. Like I am huge in my memberships on a routine, not because I need you to rigidly obsess over something, but I need you to program your subconscious mind every single day.
Mhm.
And I know that you feel the same on that, don't you?
Absolutely. We're firing and wiring these new neural pathways. And if you aren't on it dominantly, because I don't do this all day long, like I am tired, I'm pissed off, I'm fed up, all the things every day. I have those moments. But dominantly, if from the minute I wake up, I'm focusing on talking like I've just had the biggest month ever, and I'm feeling into that celebration, and then I'll use the tools that work best for me to just, the tools aren't the thing, it's the embodiment that they're giving you internally. Yeah. Um, then I know that that momentum's going. And so dominantly, I'm rewiring those neural pathways. But if you don't do that, like how I figured it out with the binge eating, it will go straight back and I'll be back in the fridge at midnight. So you do have to have a period of time where you put effort in, but then you'll become her. So then that's
Yeah.
then who you just are until you want your next level.
Definitely. And I always like kind of say to my clients, like, how bad do you want it? Because like when I was so sick of my situation and so sick of myself. So everyone on the podcast knows by now I was grieving, I was broke, I was on universal credit, all of that kind of things. I wanted my new life so fucking bad. I did not care how much routine I had to put into it. Like when I completely drastically changed what I was doing every single day and I listened to sleep tapes and I was feeling it real every single day and I was scripting and all of those things that we do, that's when my life like slingshotted into the future because I was embodying it so much. I was putting so much effort into my new self concept.
Absolutely. Well, I mean that my membership's called the Dreaming Girl Life Academy, and I made it for that reason. You know, taking you back to that time when I said I did like hibernation mode to get away from my fiance. I personally feel like initially you need that. If you want
Yeah,
to
I,
hit the next level and you want to get out, you've got to get in a bubble. Like I, and if you think of it in this way, if you're becoming the version of yourself that you want to be, who loves herself, respects herself, values yourself, and that's going to get mirrored back. Don't worry if you knock off a couple of social situations or you're the friend that's not seen for a couple of months, because on the other side of that, you'll have even better
Yeah,
people and the way
definitely.
that they treat you.
Definitely. And I know you spoke about self-talk as well. So is that you listening to take, so I used to listen to a lot of my own recordings during
Mhm.
the day, like it's almost like affirmation rampages. Do you listen to them or do you talk to yourself, or are they affirmations, or is it like inner dialogue, like the mental diet, as Neville Goddard says?
Yeah, mine's definitely I'm having a conversation with my best mate, or I'm prepping myself up before I go on the fucking stage. That's what I do. I have a list of like what I call rules that people might think are like affirmations, but they're not written in an affirmation-y way. That doesn't make me feel anything if I just say, I am blessed, I am abundant. Like, no, I need to write. Like, of course, I'm making this amount of money. Of course, people, clients are coming to me, la 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 la. So it's very much like I'm on the other side and I'm telling my best mate what's happened. I do voice notes for myself, and I do like to add on like music in the background that makes me feel it. I've got particular songs that I like, but I quite often actually like other people's voices.
Oh,
It's
really?
almost like because I know me talking is not the me I want to be, I'm not quite convinced.
I know what you mean. And a lot of my clients say the same thing because I'll get them to record their own sleep tapes or their own rampages, but I give them the option to listen to mine as well. And
Yeah.
a lot of them will lean into my voice because it's like they don't almost trust their own voice right now.
That's the way to put it, isn't it? Because you're like, well, is this just me and you being crazy here? Like, so yeah, we're just making this up. So I do have those, but do you know what I just love? Yeah, I love just talking in my head. I'll talk out loud all the time, so I've just got the baby here. Or I just love like activations that have got music in it so that I'm feeling in my body, I'm on the other side, I'm celebrating all this is, and I'm visualizing like the scenes of it. So that's what I do every day, like as much as I can.
And this is for business as well.
Yeah, majority for business, because I have found that the more we as women pour into a passion, the less interested you are in the man in a way. Like you don't need him so much. You're not as interested, you're not as bothered about whether he wants to go and play golf or whatever else, because you're busy doing something else. So that naturally makes you very more attractive anyway, and releases that anxiousness around them.
Well, it's less of a dependency, isn't it? I suppose. Like you're not dependent on them solely for your validation because you're getting it from yourself and your business as well. Like if you have
Absolutely.
clients saying to you like, Sammy, that was amazing.
Mhm.
You don't care whether he says it that day. I wouldn't.
He don't know what I do. I mean, yeah, he does. He sees all the content I put out, but he doesn't really get it. And I'm like, you just wait, just wait. One day you're going to be asking me. I'm like, your favorite actor, Jimmy Carr or Jim Carr, whatever his name, Carey, whatever his name is. I was like, yeah, you want
Yeah,
to listen to his, I'll send them to him. So there was something I was going to say there. This is a funny thing. I'm always like using my thinking, right, if you don't think about it, it's going to come back to you. And it
I do
usually,
that.
like, there's a tip if you lose something, stop thinking about it and then you'll find it. So yeah, that's what I would say is in regards to like the business, that's it. Um, Lots of people say running a business is like the biggest piece of self-development you could ever do.
Definitely
You've
agree.
got to face your shit and you've got to know your worth
Yeah.
and what you're selling, like the worth of what you're selling. So doing that anyway. I didn't separately focus on like the me in a relationship and the me in a business. I just focused on my worthiness to receive, my worthiness to have what I wanted. And that impacts how I show up in both areas.
I
So yeah,
love that.
I'd say that
And
that's
it makes so much sense as well because I have always said like money and love, they're both receiving energies.
yeah.
Like, and I always say as well when it comes to like, because I've got the self concept club and the boss club, and I always say make yourself feel sexy and you'll attract money. And I think
Yeah.
on first glance everyone's a bit like, what? And I'm like, it's that attractiveness, it's that embodiment, like whatever makes you feel sexy and makes you feel attractive, you're naturally going to start attracting in the things that you want because you're embodying the version of you who is in that juicy, like magnetic energy.
Absolutely. And I always use the term it girl
I
because
love that.
that's defined as like the most magnetic, attractive, wanted woman, right? So if we embody our versions of that, well, you're walking down the street like you're the hottest thing there. You're walking down the street like every man wants you. And you then know when you show up, you deserve the money for what you're selling. So and by, as you're saying, making yourself feel like you look the part, you're showing that. Like, this is what I deserve, this is what I want.
I love that. I love that. So I know one of the big questions people give us is how long does it take? But how
Yeah.
long did it take to transform? But how long did it take you to make money in the business? How long did it take you to lose the weight? Whatever it is.
Yeah.
What is your answer to that?
I, well, to me, I don't care if it takes you a year. What we're really looking for, like it's hard at the start to accept this, and I'm only at this point, like a couple, like, well, when did I start? 21, really going for it, like 4 years in, understanding it's all about loving yourself so much that you couldn't care less what comes to you. You couldn't care less if the world sees your worth or not, if that man changes or not. So when we put like a time frame on it, it retracts from that power, and that is your power. When you put a time frame on it, you're going to be looking for more evidence. You're going to be looking for him to treat you differently. And then when he doesn't, you'll say, well, I'm doing something wrong, so I must start from scratch again. When you could have actually been building up a
Yes.
lot of momentum there, and then you've just scratched the whole lot. Like I've done that loads.
I've done that a lot of times. I
Yeah.
always say to my clients, stop putting imaginary time crunches on everything. Like,
Yeah,
unless you're being evicted from your house, you're probably not in a time crunch, you're just in a preference.
100%. And I would say anyway, if you were being evicted from your house, your mind would be like, well, we need to sort this out, so we'll do it. It's
Yeah.
like it's gonna happen, you know? So there are things that say 66 days, 90 days to create a new neural pathway. But what's a year? Like I feel to myself now, we've got half a year left or 6 months left. Just focus on embodiment of her. So that means feeling like her, speaking like her, walking like her, thinking you are her. You're the hottest thing in every single room. Just doing that, you don't even need to take action, and see how different your life is from that. And that's nothing. 6 months is nothing.
It's nothing, especially when you've lived in, like I say, my self-concept was in the gutter. I lived that for so many years. And I
Mhm.
always say choose your hard. Like it's hard to live down here. And it's hard to like first start feeling this batshit craziness
Yeah.
of I'm doing all these things, I'm listening to all these things, I'm meditating, I'm scripting. Where the fuck is it kind of feeling? That feels hard and that feels like you're batshit crazy, but it's so worth it on the other side of it. And I always give myself a year. When I started my coaching business in 2016, I was like, I'm going to give myself a year to figure this out because I don't want to feel like I'm on a time limit that I can't meet. And then it was the same when I restarted the coaching business after Taylor had died and after the pandemic and everything. I was like, do you know what? I'm going to give myself a year to get this off the ground. I'm going to give myself that fighting chance. It manifested within that year because of that relaxation around it.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you there. I mean, it does work the other way. Like I feel like every strategy does work, but it's what are you going to get on the other side of it, and in what energy is that coming at you, and then how many hours a day do you have to work to keep that going?
Yeah,
It's so
I
it's
agree. Somebody said to me the other day about being able to, like, we can force the universe and you can, like, manifest results in the week and you can force it, but can you hold it?
that's it. Are you going to hold that man? Are you going to hold that money? That's why you've got to do the. I mean, I'm not big on like, I don't really, to be honest, I don't have the time to do EFT and stuff like that. I might do it now and again. But again, it's like a belief thing. To me, I believe if I go for a walk or if I have a shower, I'm regulating my nervous system. Like really simple day-to-day things. but you need to become her to make it familiar, to hold it so that when that 100K hits, you don't go, fucking hell, and then shut your business down like the responsibility to help these people. Like, yeah, you've got it on there. You've got
I've
it.
done that. When I started coaching in 2016, within a year, I'd made like I was making 10 grand a month, and it just freaked me out because I was affirming for it, but I wasn't becoming that identity of it. And so like I just pushed it all away. And I'd
Yeah,
spend it and then I'd get pissed off and then I couldn't manifest it again. So
yeah, yeah, I know exactly what you mean. And like with your work, we can feel, do you have one-to-one clients?
not anymore. I was like, do you know what? I just need to focus on the membership because it lights me up and it's just such a better way for business for me. But I know you used to do one-to-ones, don't you?
Yeah, I've just started them up again after a year after having pops. And the first person that comes in is like, she's a massive name. And I'm like, right, here we fucking go. This is exposure therapy then. Because I mean, even her email to me was, I used, she used a false name so that she wasn't treated differently because she essentially bought every single one of my courses, was in the membership and then signed up one-to-one, which tends to happen quite a lot. And I thought, and I hadn't even had the links open at that point, so I don't know how it happened. So I was like, okay, she needs to know that I'm the professional here and I'm the expert in this. Like the link, the what do you call it, has to drop, like on my
Sorry.
side.
Yeah,
I can't be pedestaling her as such because of who she is. And so with that, if I hadn't done the work to familiarize myself to work with high caliber clients and to receive the money that they pay, I would have freaked out and I wouldn't have shown up. I would have cancelled it.
definitely. And so how important do you think the nervous system regulation is for this work? That's I think feel like this will end on this note because I think I've took so much of your time up now. I
No,
feel
you
like
haven't. It's been really
ages.
good. It's been really cool.
But I think the nervous system regulation is a big, especially for women, because we are emotional beings and we feel a lot. And I'm not saying that men don't. I'm not discrediting them because I'm not. I know in the Queen's Code they call it frog farming, where you turn a prince into a frog. I don't believe in bashing men or, you know, going into all of those kind of things. But I do think as women we feel so many things on a daily basis.
Yeah.
How important do you think the nervous system regulation is in embodying this work?
I think if you've got the time on a daily, like I used to when I just had one and she went to preschool, I did do it every day. Um, it can help to get faster results, kind of thing. Like it can help to move you into being that version of you quicker if you have the time to do it in those moments where you're having a freak out. I feel like all of the tools that we've talked about regulate your nervous system as a byproduct of you in like increasing your baseline of self-worth. So you're feeling calmer, you're feeling more peaceful, you're feeling in that knowing and that certainty. When you dominantly embody that version of you, your nervous system's more regulated anyway. And when you understand that going through challenges is actually on purpose because it's just a reflection of the past, it's not because like the universe is testing you. I don't believe in that personally. It's a reflection of previous commands come into play and expectations. So now I get the opportunity here to show up differently in this scenario, regulated, responding as my future self would. So I do feel like as a byproduct in an easier way, by me and personally on a daily basis, my most dominant thing is that I focus on my self-worth and how I feel about myself, and that keeps me regulated and because overall it's about the feeling of safety being in that life.
I love that. I love that so much. And I'm so grateful for everything we've spoken about today. I feel like we could have gone on for 2 more hours.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
I'm just so grateful for your time. What is the one piece of advice you're going to end this on? If you could give one piece of advice to our listeners, what would you give?
Do you know, I think I'd reiterate, use the rest of this year to work if you've got a bad attachment style or your history or whatever, use whatever you feel is would work for you to get that out of your system. And then I want you to create the version of you that is so big, like you're gonna freak everyone out that's around you. Everything you've ever like dreamed of being, because you can do that. There's other people that have, so you can. And I want you to just spend the rest of 2025 soaking into every cell of your being the celebration, the achievements, the joy, the bliss, like falling in love with your life and falling in love with yourself instead of the constant external. I'm doing this so that he's different. I'm doing this so that I make money. Because what you'll actually find is you will get maybe not faster, but better, more aligned results anyway.
Yeah, absolutely love that. Thank you so much for today. Where can people find you? I will leave all the links below so they can have a look at your accounts and anything that you offer.
Thank you. I've absolutely loved it. Loved coming on. So, I am the self-love boss. Am I Sammy at the self? This is hilarious. Can't actually. I don't think I am. I don't think my name's on it. Let me just have a quick check. Right, so TikTok's my biggest, the self-love boss, yeah, on TikTok. I do have Instagram, I don't really use it, I just use that for stories, so behind the scenes is quite fun. And on those places you find the links, and my podcast is the self.
Podcast is amazing, everybody. You need to listen to it.
Thank you. It's the self-love show with Sammy over on
Amazing.
that.
Well, thank you so much for coming on today. And I hope everybody has enjoyed it. And I cannot wait to hear all the feedback. Please send me all your DMs. Let me know how you found the episode. And we will see you all soon.